Welcome back to episode 20 of the racing show. Just the three bets last week, just the two runners from the three bets though. The Jukebox Man on Friday at Newbury was put up at 10-3 and he won very well. And Midnight River at 10-1 on Saturday in the big race. Unfortunately was a loser, so up to plus 7.8 points after week 3. And some other results to look back on from last week, starting on Friday. As I mentioned, Newbury, the Jukebox Man won the John Frankham. He was impressive, jumped from the front, could clean up some of his jumping. He was very big at some of them, but very bold out in front, so scopy, lovely performance. And strong leader won the long distance hurdle, the one that Crambo didn't go for, and he was 4-7, deserved to win, and won okay. Some other performances to note now on Saturday. Impere Pass won the opening beginners chase at Fairy House on Saturday. He might be kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place in terms of trip. So with there not being a 2.5 mile novice chase at the festival, he may not go to the festival, but he could step up to 3 miles and do that quite comfortably. Amsterdam was another one on Saturday at Fairy House on his debut for Willie Mullins. Recruit from France, looked very good. Kind of could be anything. Definitely one to keep on side of. Won that at 5-2. Yeah, he looked very, very impressive, to be fair. In the race that we had our bet, Midnight River, Can Do Kid won that under a good ride from Harry Cobden. Clearly a good training performance from Nichols to target that race with that horse and win it. So that was impressive. And on to Sunday, it was just two cards, Carlisle and Fairy House. Fairy House, we saw the Triumph Hurdle favourite Willie De Huy come up a bit short in his debut for Willie Mullins, but I'd expect him to come on a lot for that run. I expect him to be a lot better next time, and certainly wouldn't be writing him off yet. Another one that was quite well fancied for the Supreme in Romeo Coolio was beaten by Toon Servator. I think that kind of dampens his Supreme credentials for me now, he wouldn't be one for me come March. In the race after that, the Drinmore, Firefox was stepped up to 2 mile 4 furlongs after being very impressive over 2 mile last time. I wouldn't completely write him off. I know he came third in this race, but I think back down to 2 miles, he's quite a tough horse. I think he was impressive last season, especially in the Supreme. That Supreme form isn't looking great now, to be honest, but I do think he is. A good horse, and depending on what other horses do, he could definitely take his chance in an Arkle come March. Last race on Sunday that's worth looking at is the Hatton's Grace, Lossiemouth versus Tihupu. Tihupu didn't get his ground or his trip, obviously being a 2 mile 4, although he did win this race last year. Lossiemouth was very, very impressive. Deserved favourite for the champion hurdle right now. I think she's very, very good. Everything she's done at Cheltenham makes me think she should stay that 2 miles incredibly well. She obviously ran on the same day as Stateman last year, should have beaten him. And should beat him again this year. She's really, really good, and I think it's going to take a lot of beating. Speaking of the champion hurdle, just going back to Newcastle on Saturday, Mystical Power versus Sergino, and Sergino got the better of him and a few others. Mystical Power was being a long way out. Sergino looks very, very good, and could definitely be another runner in what looks like a very good champion hurdle. But as I said, Lossiemouth, I think, would still be at the top of my list for that race, although it looks like it could be a cracking race come March. Moving on to this weekend's racing, we've got racing from Aintree, Sandown, Chepstow, and a few others. Navan, I think, also on Saturday in Ireland. Starting at Aintree, the 12:22. Looks like there's going to be a lot of rain from kind of Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in Liverpool. So I'd expect it to be nearly heavy come Saturday. This meeting was also run on heavy ground last year as well. So starting at the 12:22, the Kemble Brewery looks like the best horse in this race. Small field, only 5 go to post, but I think the Kemble Brewery's got enough to win this quite easily. Will encounter slightly softer ground, but that shouldn't be an issue. Already ran twice on soft ground. His hurdle form, beating Durancon, looks really good now, and he followed that up with a 4-length victory in another novice hurdle under a penalty at Fosslas. He looks like he's progressive. Nice horse, should win. Moving on to the 132, it's a 2 mile 4 furlong handicap chase. Richmond Lake won this race last year. As I said, it was on heavy. There's very high chance that the race goes off on heavy again. Richmond Lake returns to defend his crown after a good run behind King Turgeon at this course last time out. That looks like good form. He's on the same mark that he was when he won this race last year. Seems like he's got everything going for him. Might be too easy to be true, but yeah, Richmond Lake, probably nap of the day for me on Saturday. Looks like the most solid bet in the 132. Moving on to Sandown now, they have the Henry VIII Novice Chase. It's Grade 1. Le de Sud is the favourite, and rightfully so. 2 impressive novice chases so far this season. But interestingly, Gordon Elliott runs 2 in this, Down Memory Lane and Touch Me Not. Down Memory Lane was impressive from the front winner in what looked like quite a hot race. I think you might need a bit further in trip though, in all honesty. I'd be happy to oppose him here. Le de Sud, although I think he's probably the best and has proven the most so far in this race, he's a bit short. So I think Touch Me Not is really interesting for me here. I personally think he should be the first in the betting for the Gordon Elliott stable, especially over this trip. As I said, Down Memory Lane might want further in time. Touch Me Not has made massive improvements since seeing a fence. Exemplary kind of chasing debut and second time out, winning by 6 lengths from a good horse in Farron Glory. Just a really, really good smooth jumper. I think he was bought from Point to Points in England from Tom Ellis. Tom Ellis has a really good yard. They tend to jump really, really well. His graduates. So yeah, I'd be happy to chance Touch Me Not at a track that can be quite testing for novices to jump well at, and a good jumping novice can definitely take some length out of his rivals. If he can get to the front in a small runner field, I think he could do some damage here. So at 6-1, I think he's a fairly good bet to upset the short price favourite. And finally, Chepstow, the 137 for the Welsh Grand National Trial. A few in here that look like they have kind of good staying pedigree or improvement to come when really showing extended trips on the softish ground. And I like another Paul Nicholls runner here in Brave Kingdom. He's used this race in the past and the Welsh National as well. So I think that would be a good sign for Brave Kingdom making his seasonal reappearance. I can't imagine he'll massively need the run, and I think he'd be pretty revved up for this. He won at this track on his hurdles debut in 2021, so hopefully he won't have any issues handling the track. That was over hurdles, of course. He had a bit of time off the track after 2021, but made a successful reappearance when going chasing. So that's twice he's kind of made winning seasonal reappearances. I think he could do it for a 3rd time here. I think he can go well here. He's a good jumper, and I don't think the layoff is anything to be concerned about. I quite actually fancy him off a bit of a break. So Brave Kingdom in the 137, and that's around 10-3. Navan's card on Saturday as well is one to definitely keep an eye out for. Definitely going forward. The first two races, Willie Mullins runs two horses in the maiden hurdles. The first one being Cade Duthie, which is a new recruit from France. And then the second race, it's a horse called... It's a horse called Cursor Detay. And then the 12:32 is another maiden hurdle where Willie Mullins runs Jasmine DeVoe, the champion bumper winner from last season. She'll be looking to make some impact over hurdles this year. Will it be over 2 miles or 2 miles 4? In the very next race, the Yellow Clay runs, already won twice over hurdles this season, very impressively both times. He could be one for a 2.5 or a 3 mile novice hurdle. The 142 is quite a competitive handicap hurdle. Gay Cool goes in there, Lucky Lyrene, and some others that could be well handicapped. The 217 is a handicap chase, where Saf Farur looks like he could be primed to win that. He was second on seasonal reappearance over hurdles, but of course he came fourth in the Grand Annual at Cheltenham last year. Don't think stepping up to 2-4 will be too much of an issue for him. Then there's a beginner's chase at 252, which features some quite impressive horses from last year, most notably Waterford Whispers, who was just very narrowly denied in the Martin Pipe. And then the last race is a bumper, which is He Can't Dance, make his debut for Gordon Elliott. He looks like he could be quite a good bumper horse. So that's the main racing on Saturday covered. Just to recap the bets for Saturday, starting off at Sandown, the 150 Touch Me Not, currently 6-1. Moving on to Aintree, the 12:22, the Kemble Brewery, no price as of yet. And the 132 Richmond Lake, currently 10-3. Moving on to Chepstow, the last bet would be Brave Kingdom in the Grand National Trial, currently at around 10-3. The one I would be most keen on seeing prices for at Navan on Saturday would probably be Safra, but that's just going to be a lean, not an official pick.